I'm part of my neighborhood's bake-off competition. Today's prize is a $500 gift card, and I refuse to lose to my neighbor, who I'm always going neck to neck with. Well, this year is my year, one way or the other.
Hey guys, I'm a 34-year-old mama, and I've got a bone to pick with some of the people in my neighborhood. I need some fresh eyes to tell me if I'm the one who's out of line or if I've got a legit beef here. So here's the tea. I've been living in this little piece of suburbia for 8 years now. It's a tight-knit community, the kind where everybody knows everybody and gossip spreads faster than butter on hot toast. It's got the perks, sure, like impromptu summer barbecues and kids playing outside till dusk, but oh my, this place can be so competitive. Competitive as hell. And I'm not just talking about the quote, whose lawn looks the greatest kind of competitive. No. This is the quote, whose cupcakes can make grown men cry kind of competition. Every year, our neighborhood association hosts various tournaments. Dog shows, Christmas light-offs, yeah, those are the things here. But the crown jewel of all the events, you're asking? The annual neighborhood bake-off. And let me tell you, the drama that goes down during this thing, it's better than any reality show you'd ever watch. The prize? A whopping $500 gift card to our local grocery store in town. But honestly, for many of us, it isn't even about the money, it's the prestige, the bragging rights. It's about walking around the, quote, neighborhood with your head held high, knowing your lemon meringue pie is the talk of the town. Plus, who can complain about the delicious spread of desserts, right? Now, your girl here, I love joining these competitions. Not to toot my own horn, but I've got a knack for whipping up some delectable treats. Over the years, I've bagged a few wins, much to the chagrin of other mamas and a few papas in the neighborhood. There's this unspoken yet tension every time we approach bake-off season. You start seeing folks buying fancy imported chocolates, kitchen gadgets popping up in conversations, and of course the late-night glow from the kitchen window. Yeah, this is kinda like our Super Bowl. This year, I was more determined to win than ever. With the whole pandemic thing, money's been a bit tight, and that $500 could go a long way in stocking up my pantry. I poured my heart and soul into researching, practicing, and just perfecting the ultimate dessert. I've even enrolled in an online baking class taught by this renowned pastry chef from Paris. The works. But here's where the drama starts. A few days before the competition, my next-door neighbor, Carla, dropped by for a casual chit-chat, but I could tell that she had ulterior motives. The way that she eyed my kitchen, asking these innocent questions about what I might be baking. I played coy, not giving much away, but as she was leaving, she dropped the bomb. You know, not everything needs to be a competition. Sometimes it's nice to let others have a turn at winning. Wow, I was flabbergasted. Was she insinuating I should back off? Throw the competition? Was my passion for baking and a genuine desire to win somehow unfair? Anywho, that's the gist of the build-up. There's more to come, and trust me, it gets even wilder. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's been weeks since I've shared my neighborhood bake-off drama, and boy do I have some updates. So you remember how I mentioned Carla stopping by and just dropping that snarky comment? Well, I tried to brush it off, but the more I thought about it, the more it bugged me. I mean, who says something like that? Especially when all I've ever done is put my heart and soul into baking. I'm not cheating or playing dirty, just a mama trying to bake some good desserts. But here's where things get really juicy. 2 days ago, I was having my usual Tuesday evening wind down. Get it? With my bestie, Jenna. We lived in the same neighborhood for ages, and our kids played together, and she's my confidant in all things life and, of course, neighborhood drama. After a couple of glasses of some idle chatter, Jenna leans in with her eyes wide and says, "Okay, you didn't hear this from me, but I overheard Carla talking to Susan at the bank." Now, before I go on, let me just say, Susan is the neighborhood gossip monger, and if there's something happening within a 5-mile radius, Susan smells it out. Anyways, Jenna continues. Carla's planning to bake your award-winning raspberry cheesecake from the 2018 Bake-Off. You know, the one with a chocolate ganache that has everyone talking for months. But, she's gonna add her little twist to it too. Well, I was dumbfounded. My raspberry cheesecake, the dessert, was my pride and joy, and it clinched my first ever win at the Bake-Off. It felt like a personal attack, and suddenly, that impromptu visit from Carla made a whole lot more sense. Was she scoping out the competition? Trying to get an idea of what I was baking this year so she could one-up me with my own recipe? Now, I don't want to sound petty, but come on. Of all the desserts in the world, she chose mine, and it's not just about the recipe. It's about the time, the memories, the love I poured into creating it. It felt like a violation, like she was robbing me of something precious. I've been toying with perfecting my tiramisu for this year's competition, making sure every layer sings and every bite is a little slice of heaven, but now I can't help but second-guess myself. What is Carla's twist of my cheesecake? Could it overshadow my tiramisu? What if people accuse me of being repetitive, even though I'm not the one baking this year? Jenna, bless her, tried to comfort me. Look, this just shows she sees you as the top dog, the one to beat. It's kind of flattering when you think about it. Well, yeah, or it's just sneaky, a move to throw me under the bus. So there you have it, the drama continues, and now I'm more anxious than ever about this year's Bake-Off. The stakes are high, and my pride's on the line, and I've got a sneaky neighbor potentially using my past glory against me. Y'all think that I'm petty for being upset about this, or am I just being dramatic? Help a mama out here. Until next time. Update number 2. Hey, it's me again. I've got my fuzzy socks on, a bottle of wine by my side, and a whole lot of feelings. 2 weeks have passed, and the infamous Bake-Off I've been talking about, well, it happened. And I won't lie, it was a train wreck. So the day of the Bake-Off was a sunny, clear sky with just a hint of that early fall crispness in the air. I was nervous, sure, but also excited. The community center was decked out in fairy lights, streamers, and that delightful aroma of baked goods waiting in the air. It was almost enough to make me forget about the Carla drama. Almost. The display table was a sight to behold. Everyone really brought the A-game this year. I swear, some of these creations look like they were straight out of a gourmet magazine or fancy pastry in the middle of Italy. There were Deborah's macaron towers, which literally sparkled, Melanie's black forest cake, so tall I wondered how she even transported it, and Tammy's famous tres leches, and it looked even more decadent than usual. Then my eyes landed on Carla's entry. My heart was pounding, and not in a good way. It was unmistakably my raspberry cheesecake, albeit in a star shape, but every layer, every hint of the chocolate, it screamed my recipe. Well, the only difference, it sat on this luxurious-looking plate that made it pop even more. It could not help, but make me wonder, how on earth did she get her hands on my recipe? Sure, I'd shared it with a couple of close friends over the years, but Carla was never one of them. Trying not to let it get to me, I set up my tiramisu station with pride. I believed in my dessert. It had the right balance of coffee and, other flavors, and I've even added a sprinkle of edible gold dust on top, for that extra glam. As the competition began, the judges made their way around, and their faces inscrutable, taking notes, and I could feel the tension in the air. We held our breath, waiting for the results. And then it was time. 3rd place went to me. Okay, not first, but podium finish? Yeah, I'm proud of my tiramisu. Tammy snagged 2nd place, and honestly, I can't even be mad. Her tres leches was legendary in these parts. But first, my heart sank. Carla! That damn star-shaped cheesecake, there she was, clutching her trophy, and that $500 gift card looking smug as a cat who got the cream. The applause was deafening, but I could think was, well, she used my recipe. I made a beeline for her. Tears threatening to spill, and Jenna, being the angel she is, showed up at my doorstep with a bottle of wine, and we sat on the couch sipping it, and I just let it all out. I can't believe she did it. Of all the low-down dirty tricks, using my own creation against me. Jenna, ever the voice of reason, nodded and said, "It's one thing to be inspired, but it's like she photocopied your dessert. It's plagiarism is what it is." We talked about Carla for hours, and Jenna, always the detective, mentioned overhearing some rumors that Carla might have gotten the recipe from Susan. But then again, Susan knows everything, so who knows? The wine and, well, vented helped, but deep down a fire was ignited. Carla crossed the line, and by the end of our wine-fueled session, I found myself wishing I could teach Carla a lesson. The audacity of it all, taking my dessert and parading it as her own, it stung more than I cared to admit. Now, I'm not one to hold grudges, but this was personal. Jenna and I toyed with the idea of some sweet revenge, nothing harmful, just enough to level the playing field. But we did not delve too deep. It was just talk, for now. So here I am wondering, is it just a silly neighborhood competition, or is my hurt justified? I would love to hear your thoughts. Until next time. Update number 3. Hey guys, 2 weeks from the bake-off debacle, and guess who I ran into at the store? Yeah, Carla. And not just in the passing, this was a full-blown confrontation. Let me tell you, if looks could bake, I had a fresh pie in my hands. I was in aisle 5, minding my own business, comparing 2 brands of cocoa powder when I saw her. She was a couple of aisles down, and my first instinct was to avoid her. But then I noticed her cart overflowing with all sorts of fancy gourmet items. Balsamic vinegar from Italy, organic artisanal cheeses, truffle oils in glass bottles, stuff that nobody would ordinarily buy. Then it hit me. She was blowing her $500 gift card on those fancy treats. The same card she won using my recipe. The nerve. Before I knew what I was doing, I found myself walking towards her. "Carla, why did you use my cheesecake recipe at the bake-off?" "Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about." "Don't play coy. You know it's mine. Everyone knows it's mine. Why would you do that?" Well, maybe. You're just jealous that I won. Jealous is not a good look on you." Well, I was taken back, not just by her audacity, but by her complete disregard for my feelings and the effort I'd put into the dessert over the years. You know, it's one thing to be inspired by someone, but to downright copy and flaunt it in bad taste? Maybe you should spend more time on your baking and less time being bitter. Might get you first place next time. I took a deep breath, biting back a retort that would have surely caused a scene, and instead I simply said, "What goes around comes around, Carla, remember that." And with that I walked away, leaving her in the gourmet section, then drove home with a blur of emotions. I could not shake off the idea of payback, revenge. Carla not only stole my recipe, but she flaunted her win and taunted me for it. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. I could not let her get away with this. I know revenge is not the best approach. Heck, I've always taught my kids to turn the other cheek, to rise above, to be the big person, but this felt personal. It was about respect, integrity, and the essence of fair competition. So here I am, sipping my evening tea and letting my mind wander, dreaming up what level of playing field I can do to fix this. Nothing malicious, of course. Maybe, just maybe, a little lesson in humility for dear Carla. Am I being petty for feeling this way, for wanting to teach Carla a lesson? I would love to hear your thoughts about what you would do. I promise there'll be another update. Update number 4. Hello, my people. It's me again. Remember the whole bake-off fiasco with Carla I posted about? Well, a lot has happened since then, and I've had a lot of requests for an update, so here it is. And just say there was a cherry on top of this whole mess. I'm still processing it all, and honestly, I'm torn on how I feel about it. I need your input. So, as I mentioned before, I could not shake off the need for some payback. It just wasn't about the recipe, it was about the principle. Carla needed a taste of her own medicine. So with the help of Jenna and a few other sympathetic neighbors, I hatched a plan. Nothing harmful, but something that would give Carla a taste of humility. Well, Jenna mentioned a small gathering that she was hosting for some ladies in the neighborhood. It was a simple evening with drinks and snacks, and since Carla and Jenna were in the same book club, Carla was expected to come, and I also invited, so here's where my plan came into play. Jenna's party was set up at a potluck, and Carla, still riding high on her victory, promised to bring her award-winning cheesecake. That was the opening I needed. Well, that night, I decided to bake the same cheesecake using my original recipe. I spared no expense, gourmet everything. A beautiful design, and the cheesecake was going to be a piece of art. On the day of Jenna's party, I arrived early with my cheesecake, setting it up on the main table with a little card that read, "The original raspberry cheesecake by me, OP." The one that started it all. As the guests trickled in, I noticed them eyeing the cheesecake, commenting on its beauty, and asking Jenna if it's the same one that won the bake-off. Jenna, being the loyal friend she is, would chuckle and say, "Oh no, this is OP's original, the one Carla got inspired by." Well, by the time Carla walked in, there was quite the buzz around my cheesecake. She looked at it, then at me, and I could see her trying to figure out what's happening. A bit of confusion and embarrassment flashing across her face. To make matters even juicier, I prepared a small presentation, and as the evening went on, more wine flowed, and I took a moment to tell everyone the story of my cheesecake, how I perfected it over the years, the special ingredients I crafted, and how it had become a signature dish in our community. I did not mention Carla outright, but the implications were clear. By the time I finished, the room was thick with tension. Carla looked like she wanted to sink into the floor. Wow. Several guests were giving her side eyes, and others were openly whispering about the blatant copy. Carla did not stick around much after that. She just quietly set her cheesecake off, which, by the way, was dwarfed in comparison to mine. She set it on a side table and just murmured an excuse about an early morning and left. No drama, no confrontation, just the silent, sweet victory of setting the record straight. Now, here's where I'm feeling torn. On one end, I feel great. The smug look was wiped off Carla's face, and there was an unspoken understanding in the community about who the real baking queen was. But on the other hand, I can't help but wonder if I went overboard. It was a grand gesture, perhaps too grand and maybe a tad petty. I've been mulling over it for the past few days, and Jenna thinks I did the right thing, and Carla had it coming. But there's a little nagging voice inside me wondering if I should have just let it go. So, am I the a-hole for pulling this elaborate stunt to teach Carla a lesson? Did I cross a line, or did Carla have it coming? Let me know your thoughts. Comment number 1. You are the a-hole. Wow, OP. Really, I get being competitive and all, but this is just baking. It's supposed to be fun and wholesome. Not gonna lie, going out of your way to humiliate somebody seems too high school dramatic. And coming from me, a 17-year-old, that's saying something. Sure, it's a competition, but it's a neighborhood one. You should have just let it slide, baked something amazing next time, and reclaimed your crown. Comment number 2. Not the a-hole. Honestly, come on. I'm living for this pettiness. Carla knew exactly what she was doing when she took your recipe. If you put time and effort into perfecting something, you have every right to be upset when somebody takes credit for it. You didn't harm her, you just put her in her place. Sometimes people need a taste of their own medicine, and you served it with a cherry on top. Comment number 3. Okay, I see both sides here. Carla should not have taken your recipe and added her own little flair. That's shady. But OP, did you really need to put on a whole presentation? It seems like both of you need to grow up and realize it's cake. But whatever. You share the blame in this sugary drama. Everybody sucks here. Final comment. Back in my day, we'd handle disputes face to face. I'm 59 years old. We don't use passive-aggressive moves at social events. I understand the pride you take in your recipe, dear, but you went overboard. Carla used her recipe as inspiration, and isn't imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Come on. Instead of trying to one-up her, you should have approached her and cleared the air. The drama was so unnecessary.
Yes, you could say today's story was very, very petty, but I do want to know your thoughts about it because as we just reviewed some of the comments, I'll be honest with you, the comment section is so divided. 33% always. Everyone sucks here, OP is the jerk, OP is not the jerk. It just looks like everyone is having their own opinion. So I want to know your thoughts, so this is what we'll do. Here's the question. If you were in OP's position and it was your recipe that was stolen, how would you go about handling it, guys? I want to know your exact route, A through Z. How do you go about handling it? And do not forget about when OP ran into her enemy, her arch nemesis at the store. What would you have done there? My name's Mr. Reddito, and if you guys are new to the channel, this is a revenge channel, where every story has something to do with revenge or karma, and if you want daily videos, all you gotta do is click subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, yes, this is a revenge channel, but it's cool to be kind. Peace.